Imagine that the official medications that were prescribed by reputable medical professionals were the cause of death for an additional 100,000 people in a single year who passed away as a result of an overdose.
Listening to the techniques of how to train somebody to sell drugs.
How could this happen? Is it not the case that the physicians always provide you with the appropriate prescriptions to aid in the patient's speedy recovery? When it comes to the pharmaceutical industry, this is the most significant scandal ever, and the facts are shocking. Ecstasy, morphine, and cocaine are examples of drugs that are considered to be illegal but are used in the medical field to alleviate pain, reduce anxiety, and alleviate symptoms of Parkinson's disease through the use of drugs. However, in certain circumstances, higher doses are required, and fentanyl is one of the substances that falls into this category. As a result of the fact that the content of fentanyl itself is 50 times higher than that of heroin and 100 times higher than that of morphine, it is considered to be an official synthetic opioid medication that is available for the treatment of chronic pain. It is for this reason that this fentanyl medication is prescribed to patients who are in the later stages of cancer. Because of the high rate of fentanyl use and the significant number of overdoses that have occurred as a direct result of this drug, the situation involving this substance has become a scandal. How could this happen? Aren't you able to get this medication without a prescription from a medical professional? Is there a plot to sell this drug that is covered up by a conspiracy? Criminal proceedings involving the pharmaceutical industry have been ongoing in the United States for a considerable amount of time, dating back to the year 2003. The shocking case of a lollipop that was manufactured by Cephalon and sold illegally, which contained an opioid called Actic that contained fentanyl. It is difficult to increase sales of active drugs, which is the root cause of this problem. The range of sales of these drugs is very limited, and they are only sold to people who are suffering from advanced stages of cancer. As a result of the difficulty of this medication, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has implemented stringent regulations regarding its utilization in accordance with the prescribed dosage. Although physicians are granted complete authority to write these prescriptions, they are required to do so with complete and accurate information. Because of this, Cephalon has made an effort to increase sales by requesting that doctors be encouraged to promote off-label medications. Undoubtedly, not without the promise of a reward for engaging in this illegal promotion, which is to receive a substantial commission if it is successful in selling as much as it does. Alec Burlakoff is an example of a salesman who has been successful in selling this active drug. He is willing to say anything in order to increase the likelihood that the physician will prescribe active to his patient. As a result of the fact that his motto is "pain is pain," and he adheres to a sales principle that disregards all of the FDA's off-label promotion laws, Alec will concentrate on sales results because his person is sales. He came to the realization that in order to be successful in the business of selling pharmaceutical drugs, particularly opioids, he should not be conscious and should ignore patients. This is the most important factor, the fact that the doctors who receive the incorrect information from the promotion of this sale prescribe patients who do not have end-stage cancer, but rather joint pain, autoimmune disease, or even headaches, even with medications that they should not consume, indicates that this scam game must be extremely harmful to patients. Due to the fact that fentanyl is higher in the opioid group than other drugs, even a small amount of use can result in an overdose. The undesirable effects of fentanyl use are not primary. This method was utilized until one of the sales inquiries to the FDA regarding the Cephalon resulted in the sale being in violation of the law. When Cephalon held a joint conference for the sale, Greg Tremaglio was the first federal official of the FDA to conduct an investigation into bribery. The investigation was conducted in connection with the sale. As a result of the conference, we are aware of the methods and approaches that are utilized in the sale of drugs. Furthermore, everything that has been discussed over the course of the days constitutes a violation of the law, and the law is even more comparable to the strategy of corruption than organized crime. Shouldn't it be considered an inhuman act if a physician who has been enticed by a sales promotion then gives a patient a prescription that is not supposed to be on the patient's prescription list? In addition to the covert promotion, Cephalon even extended an invitation to the physicians to work together as part of the promotion of this tactic. It is hoped that these physicians will be able to persuade other physicians that they are also able to use the tactic. The Cephalon case was resolved in 2008 when the company admitted that the promotion they were conducting did not adhere to the code of ethics. As a result, they were required to pay $450 million and sell the company for $6 billion. The truth of the matter is that no one has been arrested for a fraud case that has resulted in a significant number of people overdosing and a few of them. What are your thoughts on this thing? The comment section is below. One of the most powerful individuals in the pharmaceutical industry is John Kapor, and Forbes has included his name on their list of most influential people. In addition to being a billionaire who is the owner of a pharmaceutical company known as Insus, he was born in India and later moved to the United States to work as an executive and investor within the investment industry. In 2012, Insus also sold a prescribed opioid medication known as Subsize. John Kapor is also interested in seeing an increase in the sales turnover of Insus. John Kapor, who is known for his lack of responsibility, has the audacity to establish a fund that will provide a yearly sum of $125,000 to the physicians who are willing to collaborate with him. The Insus is being disguised as a speaker cost of the program in order to conceal its true nature. What is the reason that these physicians are not overwhelmed? Considering that not only do they receive money, but the doctors who are invited are also served women for a party together and given a luxurious dinner. Furthermore, these physicians are only asked to write prescriptions that contain this Subsize drug. Once more, John Kapor was successful in his efforts to increase sales from Subsize by recruiting Alec Burlakoff as sales vice president. They don't care about sales experience in the pharmaceutical field like Alex, and the most important qualities that Insus is looking for in his salespeople are charm and attraction. Insus is recruiting a wide variety of attractive young women to play the role of his salespeople. Following that, girls obtain their clients from the waitresses who had previously worked, or even from the people who were employed at the encouragement of medical professionals to work together with Insus is the goal. They are conducting targeted research. They are going to reach out to physicians who have a history of debt or physicians who have divorced their wives so that the appeal from the sensuous sales lady can be the target, because they will be able to write high-dose prescriptions without having to worry about the patient's safety. The physicians who work with Insus believe that his life will be very secure from the end of his financial situation until the end of his relationship with the woman. His insanity serves the purpose of Insus himself, which is to acquire a patient who contains an addiction. The victim will experience a sense of desperation and will attempt anything in order to obtain Subsize. Of course, at first, Insus will be of assistance to them. However, the consequences of this situation include addiction, withdrawal, pain, suffering, and even death. Almost all of the patients who were given this Subsize medication went through a period of their lives that was filled with ruin. As a consequence of the victim's unwelcome addiction, a significant number of them were unable to find employment. Their families were thrown into disarray, and they experienced hallucinations. The employee staff and script scenarios have been prepared in order to ensure that the insurance will pay for the medications that are prescribed to cancer patients that John Kapor specializes in treating. Thus, it was able to remain undetected for a considerable amount of time. In the end, it was John Kapor's insanity that brought about the change. He increased the dosage from 400 micrograms to 16 by 600 micrograms. That was the last straw. Just how insane is he? In the prescription for end-stage cancer, the normal dose is only 400 micrograms. However, the drug Subsize is manipulated so that it can be consumed by the sick, who typically consume it at a dose of 16,600 micrograms. There is a difference between the normal dose and the maximum dose. In what way is it possible for patients to not develop a direct dependence on the drug that is to become the official drug? Suspicion is uncovered when the nominal entry into the doctor's account does not make any sense. This is due to the fact that the funds earned can be 40 to 50 times the amount of money that the doctor himself reasonably earns. Because of this, law enforcement in the United States becomes suspicious and begins an investigation. The realm of criminal activity has already been entered into this case. All 11 of the doctors who were involved with the Insus were eventually taken into custody. Additionally, Alec Burlakoff was given a sentence of 4.23 million and 26 months in prison at the same time. Moreover, John Kapor was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison and paid a fine of 6 million. As a result, Insus went bankrupt. There is a widespread belief that China is intentionally waging war against the United States through the use of fentanyl. A Mexican drug cartel is responsible for the transformation of 90% of the illegal fentanyl that is produced in China into a synthetic opioid, which is then smuggled into the United States with the intention of being sold there. Ben Westhoff is an investigative journalist who discovered the fact that there was a new psychoactive substance called NPS that was all made in Chinese laboratories and produced a new synthetic chemical fentanyl, which is the of all. Fentanyl is becoming an opioid crisis in America due to overprescription opioids opens up opportunities for millions of new users of fentanyl. When their prescriptions are exhausted and they realize they're addicted to the opioid, fentanyl overdoses have increased by 44% due to overprescription. It's like the case with Prince and Tom Petty, both of whom didn't realize that the pills they used to take actually contained fentanyl. The case of Prince, who died on April 21, 2016, was the result of an opioid overdose of fentanyl. The singer has suffered from knee and hip pain for a long time since she performed. The same case happened with Tom Petty, whose family clarified that the musician died suddenly on October 2, 2017, at the age of 66, from an overdose of a variety of drugs, including opioid pain relievers and fentanyl. Trump also blamed China for exporting fentanyl and other drugs into the US, becoming a major case. Because of this, China has announced that it will break its relationship in terms of law enforcement in China. Therefore, the United States government's policy that was successful in eliminating the fentanyl epidemic in the United States was to impose massive restrictions on restricting trade between Mexicans and Americans by the year 2020. Although this policy has unintended consequences, it is necessary in order to force drug dealers to switch from heroin to fentanyl. Because of this, it is the most significant factor contributing to the increase in caused by synthetic opioids in the United States. What do you think of today's facts? If the official drugs that circulate illegally, like Subsize and Actic, take a long time to circulate in the community and even become epidemics, does it mean that it is possible that there are similar drugs out there that are circulating illegally for the sole benefit of the rulers? What's your opinion? Please comment in the comment column all the videos of today and see you in the other amazing videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you.